Hi kindergartners, it's Miss May, and I'm here today to talk to you about outer space. So again, I had some friends from room 1 who had some awesome questions about outer space that I'd like to answer for you today. So the cool thing about outer space is we don't actually know everything there is to know about outer space. Scientists are working every day to make new discoveries and figure out new things about space. So I'm going to do my best to answer your questions with the information that scientists already know. But I'm hoping that some of you will grow up to become scientists yourselves, and then you can investigate and discover the answers to your own questions about space. So Grigor had an amazing curiosity. He just wanted to know more about the planets and the stars and outer space. So I thought that I would share some facts about outer space with you. I'm going to start by talking about the sun. Now, did you know that the sun is actually a star? Now, the reason it looks so much brighter and so much bigger than all the other stars in the night sky is because it's the closest star to our planet. Now, even though it's the closest star to our planet, it's not that close. The sun is 93 million miles away from the Earth's surface. If we were to drive a car all the way to the sun at 60 miles per hour, that's about how fast you go on the freeway, it would take us over 170 years to drive a car to the sun. Now, when we got there, it would be really hot, way too hot for any human to survive. The surface of the sun is 10,472 degrees Fahrenheit, and the middle of the sun is even hotter than that. Now, if we went up into space, we'd need a rocket ship, not a car. So if we went up in a rocket ship, some cool things would happen. In outer space, there's almost no gravity, which means you would be floating around. There would be nothing pulling you down to the Earth's surface. When we jump on Earth, we go up and we come straight down. But if you were to jump in outer space, you wouldn't come back down. Another really cool thing about outer space is it's absolutely silent. There's no sound in outer space. So if you listened closely, you would hear nothing. That's really cool. So Pietro had the question, how was the sun made? And that's an excellent question. But in order to answer that question, we're going to have to go way far back in time. 4.5 billion years ago, to be exact. So billions of years ago, there was a disruption in the galaxy. And this caused a cloud of gas and dust to form. As the cloud grew bigger, its pull to other particles of dust and gas became greater. And when new particles would join this cloud, it would cause it to move. It started spinning in a big circle. And that circle started moving so fast that it eventually flattened the cloud into a pancake as it whirled around in space. Now, while this cloud was moving around so quickly, it was creating a ball of pressure right in the middle. Eventually, all of these particles squish together so tightly, and the pressure is so high that it starts to get hot in the middle, and boom! All of the particles will ignite, and the star is born. And that is how the sun came to be. So Kinsey also had an amazing question. She wanted to know how the planets were made. If we know how the sun was made, it makes sense that we'd want to know how the planets were made also. So this is a question that scientists have a lot of ideas about, but we're not actually positive where all of the planets come from. Most of the planets were made from particles that were created during the formation of the sun. So while the sun was being made, it got so hot and it was igniting all of those dust particles and pieces of space rock. And it was molding them together to create these little tiny pebbles. And as those pebbles were being created in the hot sun's core, they were being ejected into space. They were being thrown out into space. And after these super hot molten pebbles were being ejected into space, a few of them actually congregated and joined forces. And as more and more of these pebbles joined together, they created huge asteroids. And as more and more of them came together, they eventually became the planets that we know today. Now, the bigger these planets got, the more likely it became that other asteroids and smaller space rocks would bump into them. And scientists believe that these other asteroids and rocks are what brought water and the building blocks for life to our planet. There are so many cool facts about space, and I would love to tell you more, but I also encourage you to do some research and investigation of your own. You can ask your parents to help you find a video or some information online to answer more of the questions you have about outer space.